Luka hasn't had the best of years. He's still a great player this year. Obviously, for us here, we are concerned when Tim McMahon wrote the article that, he showed up pretty overweight. And recently, he has been playing great. When you've kind of studied these Mavs getting ready for this game, what have you seen over maybe the last 10-game stretch that has impressed you a lot?
Well, the defense clearly is great, and they're buying into it. And I think when you see results, and maybe it's not an easy thing to accept, but when you win, it makes accepting any kind of suggestions and coaching strategy much easier. And that's exactly what's happening. I mean, Jason's got them in a position right now where they're playing defense. Brunson is playing a terrific at the point, and Luka is. I know he missed those games and with injuries and COVID, and I would tell you that probably his body needed that time to maybe reclaim itself a little bit. I think he was exhausted. We had mentioned that a couple times on the air. I think that he's still a young kid. He's still learning, about the rigors of the NBA and getting a lot of advice, and that's never going to end. He's got to figure out what he's got to listen to and what he's actually got to do. And I think that he's probably, like all young kids in their early 20s, are battling, a variety of things. And for him, he's admitted. He said, I probably ate a little bit too much and maybe didn't come in the best shape. But he had a very, rigorous summer trying to get his team in the Olympics, and he's got the weight of the franchise on him, and all these things kind of add up. So the days off that he had when he missed that time might not have been the worst thing for him, just to kind of collect his thoughts, get some perspective, get some rest, clearly, as he was, battling the injuries and the COVID list and all the things that come with that. So I don't know if that was maybe like a little hidden jewel. A lot of players, I think, need time off in the middle of the season because they've got too many games in so few nights, and they're trying to pack it all in, and it's tough on these bodies.
We got Kevin Harlan joining us on the Diamond Factory hotline right here on the KNC Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan. What has been the biggest difference between Jason Kidd then and what Rick Carlisle was for so long with this team, or is the fabric of it still kind of the same?
Well, you've got the core, surely that the players that were under Rick are still here under Jason, and so you've got the basic core of the team intact, and, as it's constituted right now, it looks, like it's in the right direction. And sometimes you need a different voice in that locker room for whatever reason. Rick certainly didn't have to, apologize or explain his record and his longevity here. It was earned, and he was a terrific coach and a championship coach. But sometimes, just a change can be good. I think Jason Kidd, quite frankly, has learned a lot at his different stops. He's been a head coach before, didn't work out, has been an assistant, has been with some good organizations, has watched others, has really, I think, delved into, the things that make a good coach a good coach. I think he's taken his own personal perspective and melded that with what he has learned and seen other places, and I think he would probably be the first to tell you that he's probably a better head coach now than he was in a previous stop. And maybe he's the right voice at the right time for this team, but they have clearly bought into the defense that he's trying to push. There's a little bit of past coaches he's been under and played for, and that defense is clearly a part of what he's feeding these players. And then, the offense, they've got so many offensive weapons that comes naturally. Defense is not natural to play, and he has sold them on it. And when you can sell them on something and couple it with the wins, it makes it a pretty good combination. That's kind of where they are right now. And they, I don't know that this surprises many people when you take a look at the people they have. Doncic is an elite player. Porzingis, if he can stay healthy, is in that category. We know what Hardaway and Brunson and some of these other guys can do. Finney-Smith continues to improve. So it's right coach, right time, right sequence, and the maturation of this group as a team, the core staying together, I think, have all played a role in what we're seeing now, 10 wins in the last 11 games.
Kevin, when you look at Golden State and Phoenix, it feels like to us here in Dallas they've separated themselves from the pack of the Western Conference. Do you feel the same way with those two teams?
Well, they're good. They've got great players on both. I do think right now the most complete team is Phoenix. They're the most consistent. They've got, I think, every box checked. They've got rebounders. They've got defenders. They've got scorers. They've got ball handlers. They've got leadership. Like, they've got everything. And Monty Williams, like perhaps Jason is now for the Mavs, Monty Williams is the right voice for this team. They had to change the culture there. You know, a couple years ago, they won 19 games, and Monty Williams took over. The season was suspended. They had won 26 games. They were 26-39. And then the league was off for those 3-4 months before they, reemerged in Orlando. And during those months, I think there was a lot of work behind the scenes with this franchise. They really went to work on getting guys, pointed in the right direction, doing the right things at practice, changing the culture. It needed that. And Monty was the one that spearheaded that. And then after that 8-0 bubble run, they did not make the playoffs down there. We know they brought in a couple of winners, Jay Crowder, who had been to 2 consecutive finals, and they brought in Chris Paul. And those seem to be the missing parts of this team. Great leadership can never be minimized. And a guy like Paul can get in these kids' heads, and he has. They've developed the players. They've gotten the Bridges, and Booker has become better, and Ayton has become a solid guy in the middle. But they've got the right leadership, and that means a lot. Here's one more thing, too. When your best player buys into what the coach is saying, and even if it's the stuff that really may not stand out, like I think Doncic is buying into at least effort on defense, at least trying on defense. I think that means a lot to the team. I think when they see the best guy doing that, I think they all fall in line. And the fact that Doncic is buying in to playing defense, or at least giving the effort to play defense, that's huge.